Greetings my friends, and welcome to a prelude video for episode 90 of the Great Britain campaign. Now, I've got a couple of calls my friends from some of the council just to provide a brief introduction to each campaign, because some of them have been going on for a very long time, and a lot of people forget, I forget my friend, what's going on half of them as well. So I wanted to try and introduce now a little bit more of a prelude into each video. Each time I dip in our toe into another campaign that's been going on for quite a while. Britain has been doing that. So we're on episode 90 now, but I wanted to give just that brief overview of where we stand at the moment. Now, of course, as you can see, we are absolutely knee deep here in a war with Poland, and it is absolutely brutal. Now, we did recently smash in the forces around Stuttgart of the Poles. As you can see here, the remnants here of what is left of those forces, we absolutely obliterated them, including this force here which has been sent packing here, but still packs a powerful punch. It really does. Look at that. They really are absolutely full of elite forces here. So the Poles are not done by a long way. We've got our spy here just outside Munich, which is our main target here. Munich really, as we capture Munich, it'll just absolutely anchor our sort of our southern flank, as it were, here, and give us a massive production centre. Because as you can see, we don't have any sort of production centres of this magnitude anywhere near us here, which it would be a huge boom. We wouldn't have to be sending forces from Amsterdam, which is already stretched the limit anyway in trying to produce forces to keep up with the war, and also Paris, which is currently trying to stem the current invasions by the Spanish, who are also at war with us down here, moving through Savoy into France itself here, hitting Marseille constantly here. As you can see, Marseille is already being hit. We're trying to repair that here. We are ultimately going to remove the rest of the remnants of this force, which is just one general himself, who has been pushed back into the port of Brest. But also here in Bordeaux, we have this army that's been sent in. This just gives you a little taster of what the Spanish have available: Royal Cuirassier Guards, Grenadier Guards, Riflemen Scouts, everything they've got here. So again, we're up against an elite Spanish army as well, so we've got to be really careful what we're doing here. And of course, further south into sort of Naples itself, into the Mediterranean and between the Adriatic, we've got this monstrous force here that's coming for us. Now we have been able to put a very, very strong force ourselves in defence here. Most of them are prepared for that defence. This army is not at the moment. It was brought in at the last moment, but as you can see, we've even got Polish forces operating behind our lines as well. All our trade routes have been absolutely seized. So we're fighting now effectively in isolation here, and it's going to be a massive fight, because look at the forces being brought here by Spain. They're throwing absolutely everything but the kitchen sink at us here. Even here, look at the forces. My goodness me, they really have got an abundance of elite forces. Look at these forces. Spain is incredibly strong here. Now these are the forces here around here. They are not of the same caliber, but they were the defenders. We almost managed to get Rome before they moved in, but unfortunately we weren't able to. As you can see, this force has already fought a skirmish here. We did destroy one Spanish army, but the Spanish quickly brought in additional forces. If we're able to bring this army group into the fight here, we can probably maul it quite severely. This army is almost at full strength here, not too far off, thankfully. Just one or two men away from being full again. And then we'll have another full complement of forces. Again, we've just got this small task force here, which is brought in. Hopefully we can try and recruit. We can't recruit anything here at all. We've got to bring in forces from Egypt, and that is a long haul. We also have to skip through a number of barricades, as it were, here to stop us moving in, particularly these Polish forces here, the naval forces. Look at that, very, very strong indeed. And here as well, just off Naples itself, and this one here in Siracusa, and here in Taranto. So again, if we need to ship in reinforcements, they've got to come all the way from Egypt here. We've got this force here, but I don't want to lose Egypt just yet. But we'll have to recruit some additional forces here, I think, if we've got time. As you can see, we've got 22,536 coming in every single year, which is not too bad at all. Thankfully, the tax income is effectively paying for the army upkeep. And then we've got the trade here, which is not booming by any means. But we've got, thankfully, this other coming in here, the other means, diplomatic niceties, backhanders, as it were, coming in here. So that's excellent. Our trade partners are fairly extensive, including the United States, We're also allies with the United States and also Sweden, but neither, I don't think, are going to drag themselves into this war here with us, with Spain and with Poland. But if we move back to the Polish frontier, which really has absorbed a huge amount of our forces, the commitment here we've put in here is extensive. As you can see, around Hanover here, again brought to combat. We did fight a real battle here with the Poles, and we sent them packing as well, destroying an army here. And also we're just moving this army up here, as you can see, to seal off this flank here. They're quite clearly in Hamburg. And also thankfully we've got a very strong force here, as you can see, which did take a real battering there around Hanover, pushing back those Polish forces. We've got General Savorsky here. We've also put in a small army here, as you can see, in Braunschweig. And we've got these Polish forces moving up quite extensively here as well. Powerful forces, Grenadier Guards, light cavalry sharpshooters, some riflemen, but I think we can take care of these. And again, they're not sending out anything really that's going to pack a punch. So we should be able to deal with these quite easily here. We've just got to protect this northern flank, because it looks like they're trying to send forces up from Gdansk and Prague. We've also got, as I said here, these are what we've got to deal with here. And also these reinforcements are concerning, because look at the reinforcements around Vienna. Extraordinary amount of forces here around Vienna. Scarily so. Mind you, they're not of the greatest caliber, are they? Looks like they've sent all their best troops to the front already. One or two packing a little bit of a punch, but nothing we couldn't handle. So again, if we look at our own forces moving down to Munich, look at that. I mean, it's absolutely a joy to see. This is probably one of our oldest armies, as you can see from the Grenadiers, from the Royal Irish Regiment. I think we might have a Royal Welsh Regiment somewhere as well. I mean, look at that. I mean, look at this. Absolutely, this army itself could probably deal with 2 or 3 Polish armies.
Yes,
and again, we've got this here, Jaden van Wyk here. Look at this, absolutely packing up real mailed fist here. They're again fighting around Stuttgart, moving in our finest Fusiliers, Grenadier Guards, Grenadiers themselves, Horse Guards, and I believe here as well. Look at that, up to full strength here. Field Marshal Ernock here, who's done an exemplary job. And again,
yes,
just got additional forces loitering here. I'm going to try and get these up to full strength. And again here around Strasbourg, we're just not taking any chances. We'll have to hold France and indeed Paris with the forces we've got at our disposal. We can't draw any more off at the moment unless we absolutely need to. And again, we are building up additional forces here in London. Look at that. This force is going to be dispatched for Europe quite quickly. And we're building up another force here, which we also need to do as well. And also here in Scotland, we're also producing these forces to move down to the London to then disembark or embark upon a ship from Greenwich or from Portsmouth, and then move into France to reinforce sort of the French garrison, as it were, because we've got Spain can at will here move across the border. But again, we've got spies down here, keeping an eye on the movement here of the Spanish forces. They haven't moved anything up here, but they are once again really carrying a real threat here. And they've also got this ship here with this army aboard, which also includes the Walloon Guards, which to me are probably one of the finest regiments in the world, bar none. So still got our hands full here. Peace might be a possibility, but again, we are and do have the majority of the British Navy here in the English Channel. We haven't moved against Poland here, which we should really do, but again, they've only got the majority of these as sloops, heavy frigates, a couple of first-rate ships of the line here, but nothing too great here. And we've got victory here. Admiral Collins, and again we've got more forces here as well. We're building this up to be a full strength fleet as well, so that'll be 4 full strength fleets here, which we have to use at our best to possibly can here. And again, up here we've got our ally here, Sweden, being hit hard by Russia. That's affected. Look at the Russian fleet there, my goodness me, it's extraordinary. And of course the Russian forces have invaded Sweden and they've hit them real hard, again taking away a good chunk here of our income. Hopefully Sweden can get that back on track. We cannot help them. We do not have the resources to help them as well. and pushing against Russia would probably not be advisable at the moment, because you can see they are huge. For some reason they've been able to, they've got Komi here, but I'm not sure how. Unless they've moved troops up this far and just struck out here, and Russia doesn't have anything at the back of it here. There's that possibility, but look at the size of Poland, it's just huge. And Spain, we're trapped between the two. And also, luckily we're at peace with Russia for now at least, but let's have a quick look at how we land. They're hostile with us. I think it's only a matter of time. We might have to reinforce Egypt here with additional forces, which I think we'll have to do for definite. This army will be able to hold out for a very long time. But look at the Russian forces here around that Ankara. That is a lot, my goodness me. But I think our main focus for now at least is going to be Munich. We need to break Munich here. So in the upcoming episode, episode 90 now, we're going to probably, or not probably, we are going to push for Munich here. Not even going to Welsh. There's a Royal Welsh here. So as you can see, we've got very strong armies. But I believe these armies here, this army group here, as you can see here, is more than enough to not only take the city, but also probably respond to any counterattack that's going to come. And we can then probably send this army in once it's fully replenished in to reinforce Munich, therefore sort of driving almost a dagger into the sort of the underbelly here of the Polish forces in Central Europe, which ultimately is what we want to do. We've also got the United States here in Saxony. We gave the United States Saxony, remember? And again, I mean, look at that National Cavalry, Lancer Cavalry. My goodness me, look at the charge bonus. That's around Prague, but they don't have anything around Prague either. If the Poles were attacking in the north here, I would definitely siphon off an army or two and make them my way to Prague. If we could take these two behemoths of these two titans of production here, then it would be an absolute boon for us. It really will. Maybe siphoning off this army here away from Cologne, and perhaps this army here, making this army a full army as well, and then moving them towards Prague. That might be a plan might do. But anyway, friends, I'm going to end this particular. Oh, and just before I do end it, we've got Arcadia here. We've also got the possibility of Newfoundland against the Rizzoni rebels here. We want to really establish a really strong presence here in North America, and also the New World itself. We've also still got the pirates in the Bahamas, and also here in Windward Islands. If we get our footprint in here, we could directly challenge Spain in the Caribbean, which is something I like to do. Probably take Bahamas first, because as you can see, Spain does dominate the Caribbean quite extensively. We do have the allies of Sweden here in Jamaica, and we're at peace with New Spain. Look at how much money's coming in there. That's extraordinary. 30,000 for New Spain, but nearly 4,500 for ourselves, which is not too bad at all. And again, we've got 2,400, so roughly about 7,000 coming in from New World just from these. But look how extensive the United States has expanded quite quickly here, and that's always good to see. A strong ally is always needed, particularly the United States. We do have that special relationship between ourselves and the United States, which is always good to see. Further into the subcontinent here, we are at peace with the Mughal Empire, who are absolutely dominant here in the all the way up to here in Luchistan here. But Persia's still controlled by Russia, and Russia really has got Baghdad. It's got all of the Middle East effectively under its control. That's going to be an absolute monster to take on. That is. It's going to be a real fight, but ultimately Poland is going to be our next target, particularly Munich. But anyway, friends, I hope you've enjoyed this prelude to the next episode. Again, please keep your comments coming down below. They've been absolutely fantastic. So is your support and advice, my friends. But until next time, or should I say until the next time when the next new video is coming up here, the next episode complete. Until then, my friends, bye for now. Greetings and welcome to episode 90 of my Empire Total War Darth Mod Great Britain campaign. This, my friends, as the last time, Hopefully, my friends, in the prelude we gave a brief glimpse to where we stand at the moment. Of course, Munich is going to be our main target here. Now, we do have a number of... Well, Poland... I don't think Poland would go to peace just yet with us. Spain, perhaps, but even then, we've got that brutal conflict down here in Naples, just brewing here. We've managed to put in and bring in some additional forces to try and aid us here. Many of these forces are almost at full strength. We've already sent one Spanish army packing. We are going to be besieged, I think, pretty brutally by both Poland and Spain at some point, and they're throwing everything but the kitchen sink at us here. Look at that. Absolutely packed to the rafters with elite troops. I think they siphoned off their finest troops here to fight us in Naples. It's going to be an absolute a monstrous fight. We can't recruit here, so we have to definitely begin starting to ramp up our recruiting from Egypt here. Thankfully, we can get colonial line infantry from here, which is excellent, and also Cuirassiers, so we might have to start ferrying in troops from Egypt. That's a long haul, though, to come.
Fleet ready.
We do have a strong fleet here in the Mediterranean, just on the Spanish trade route here.
Yes, Your Majesty.
And also on the Russian... the United States has got some... a lot of work. Look at that, it's cut off here from Marseille, which is damaged, but we are repairing that, but we can expect other attacks from Spain. Here they've already moved into Bordeaux here, but we are replenishing the armies that are defending France. Look at that, like goodness me, extraordinary forces we got here. Look at that. General Faramir, absolutely astonishing force here, which did give, as you can see, the Spanish force a sound thrashing. It really did. Only the general survived. Now, of course, we do have a number of factories that were besieged and damaged, but we are going to move out. Oh, we might try to stem the tide coming from Genoa, because they've got this bastion here in the north of Italy here, and they've also got Rome, which really is what we were after in the first place. But of course they've moved to get out. I didn't quite check as to whether they were allied. Indeed, that's why they're working together here. They're working together as allies to try and remove us here from Naples. Thankfully, we've got a very, very strong force in position here. We just need this force to come up back to full strength. Very powerful army, but we do need to move additional forces from Egypt in here. But I think we've done all we can do at the moment. Let's quickly have a look. We've got 22,000 coming in, which is not too bad. Let's end the turn here. Munich will be hopefully our main goal this particular episode. Let's see if we can take that. Oh, if we could take Munich, what a boon that would be. Spain, of course. Now, are they moving away there from Naples? No, look at that. Of course, they're moving into France again. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. We've got the army to deal with this. Oof. And they're hitting our trade line as well. That's going to hit us pretty hard. Now they're moving more forces now. And more probably down to Naples, if I'm not mistaken. Indeed. We've got to do something here, because Naples is quickly becoming surrounded by possibly too many armies. Not to say we won't back down. We'll never back down from a fight. Not ever. But I'm just saying, my friends, we've got to be careful there. We just get ourselves hunkered down there. We might try and reinforce the other army that's there, the sort of the army that's got a few units in it. We might bring that to full strength from Egypt. Poland, of course. Still wondering what's going to do. My goodness me, look how many forces it's got around Vienna. That's extraordinary. We mustn't underestimate the Poles. Even though we've given them a sound thrashing on the border, that doesn't mean they don't have the strength in depth to really do us a lot of harm. We must be absolutely on the ball here. Tactically, we must be astute, because we cannot throw away all that we've gained here by a simple tactical mistake. And of course, the Council will keep us on track. That I am assured of, because it really is important here. Now look at that. They've moved those forces. Wait a minute. Was that a fight? No, it wasn't. I thought for a moment there might be a civil war, but unfortunately not. There's Poland raiding the trade line now. They're off that trade line, which is excellent here. Now, look at that, reinforcing Munich. As we suspected they might be doing. Of course, we've got the spy here just to keep us informed of what the movements here. It's absolutely crucial we have that intelligence. Spy Master Bishop Monton, of course, keeping us fully in the picture of what's going on. we have wrestled and mastered sort of the Polish forces thus far. I'll try and get this army group, if possible, together to really punch hard against Munich. And perhaps just keep one of the armies in reserve in good health, so that we don't have to sort of fight any counterattacks against Munich with the depleted army if possible. So we can try and keep that in mind. But Munich really is going to be our goal, unless they oh, look at that, they just absolutely want to come for Hanover here. We've reinforced Hanover. That's absolutely fine there. We've reinforced Hanover. But they're quite clearly going to move against us here. This army, I wonder how strong this army is here. We might have to pull this army out and maybe move this army in its place here, because the road here only leads through there. Look at that. I've moved away from there. This is okay. We don't mind this. It hurts our economy, of course, but more importantly, it moves the Polish forces away from us for now, which means less for us to have to fight. And of course, Russia, which is for some reason... Oh, good grief, that's a large force there, and there as well. What's brewing here in the wind for Russia? Could they be moving against Sweden? I know they've got a huge war against Sweden here, and that's possibly where they're going to be moving, through Moscow. They're combining forces here, which is good to see. We just got to keep Russia at bay here as for long as possible. I'm not sure what the meaning of this is here. It doesn't make any sense tactically to me whatsoever to be doing this. Why has Ankara suddenly become the absolute cornerstone of all that is Russian? I don't understand. Unless there's something brewing here we can't quite foresee. I'm not sure what the Russian intent is here. It doesn't make any sense why Ankara is so heavily defended. Sweden isn't going to threaten them there. We're not going to threaten them down there, that's for sure. We don't have the firepower down in this region to even contemplate moving against the Russians. Sweden, what will Sweden do? Sweden is pretty strong still. Well, that's the long way around. Oh, look at that. They're raiding the lines there. We are trying to build up a very powerful fleet here, or task force here, of 4 fleets, which will give us a wonderful advantage locally. If we keep those fleet together, it'll give us a real advantage over any enemy. Perhaps not the Poles, because they do have an extraordinary amount of ships. United States, they've been a real solid ally of ours. And oh, look, they've gone against Quebec there. They really are becoming very, very expansionist here. United States, and that's good. A stronger ally is good for us. If they take Quebec, that would be an absolute boon, because imagine the income for us then. That would be extraordinary. Because of course, if they take Quebec, that means more trade for us as well. Oh, look at that in Egypt. Now, we've got that rake here. He might become a real asset here for us to be able to use. We'll send him down to the port here in Alexandria.
Keeping vigil.
Oh, look at that. Well. Oh, look at that, the Norfolk. John Falworth, the Jack Byron, HMS Royal Sovereign. That's a real powerhouse of a ship, my goodness me. Center of any fleet, I bet it's an absolute monster in the battle, that is. We're starting to build up quite a nice fleet here. Certainly we get in the Netherlands. Now, as you can see, we're starting to build up forces here in the Netherlands. What have we got coming in here? Oh, 40,000, that's extraordinary. And of course, we're just waiting for these forces to come. Look at that, 26 men. We took a real beating here in the fight for this. What's the forces we have here for the Pole? Oh, good grief. That is a very powerful force indeed, my goodness me. That's extraordinarily powerful. What do we have to combat that here? We've got a force here. I think it might be best if we pull this force out. Move it to Hanover, because we don't want to get them pulled all over the shop. We've got a lot of forces gathering in the Netherlands here, which is good to see.
Sir.
We'll pull this army just to here for the moment, just outside Amsterdam itself. We've got Amsterdam is an absolute powerhouse for us, as you can see. Look at that coming in here. What's the tax rate? Tax rate is 49%, so we've got a huge amount. Look at the income, 114 total growth here, and food shortage is a little bit of a problem there, but we do have a lot of agriculture to take care of it, thankfully. Now,
Lord?
these gentlemen here, I think we might start combining a few of these, because we've got this force here.
Lord.
I think we'll bring these
Make
gentlemen
ready.
to the Netherlands, just for the teams, so we can start mixing some of these armies together here. But they're at full strength. Oh, look at that. General Faramir's force are looking wonderful there. We've got these forces here as well, loitering with intent. But we're going to hold a high line here. We'll see what the Spanish do. They're not going to be a threat to these armies here, that's for sure. These armies are more than capable of dealing with Spain here. We might even send them into the north of Italy itself eventually. We've got to be careful we don't rip out the heart of the Paris defences here. That would be a real mistake on our part. Plenty of forces here, that's excellent. And look at that, we've got another one there as well. So as you can see, this navy now is growing in strength considerably here. That there,
Ready.
goodness me.
Orders, Captain. Aye, sir.
A few ships are missing from this one here.
Yes, Your
So 2 more
Majesty.
ships here are really needed, but unfortunately with this Polish fleet, which is effectively trapped here now, we've got, of course, it's raiding our line here, but we've still got money coming through. Look at Poland there, 53, that's the Mughal Empire has got 53,000 coming in, that's extraordinary. That's fine, they're raiding these lines here, but they're raiding this here, but it's dragged this army away. That's a lot of cannon. What's this army like here? That's very powerful force. They've jeepers creepers. They've given us the time though to replenish and repair here.
Sir!
And now we're at full strength
Ready
here
for orders.
around Naples. If they want Naples, it's going to cost them dear. And to that end, I think we'll begin some recruitment here as well, as we foretold here. We've got to keep Egypt absolutely hunkered down here. What is this army here? We'll try and reinforce this army here if possible with additional troops. We definitely need some additional. We need cuirassiers and we need cannon. That's what we're going to be focusing on here in Egypt for the moment. This is a defensive force here. So we're going to have cuirassiers. I think we'll have 3 cuirassiers, and we'll have 2 foot, and we'll have 2 howitzers eventually. That's excellent to see. Egypt will be our primary supply line for Naples. I know it's a long way to go from all the way through the Mediterranean, but it's the only logistical centre we've got that's going to be able to handle that. And also we've got the port of Alexandria, which has the capacity for that army. And I think we've got a sloop here, the Oxford here as well. I don't want to start recruiting heavy first rates in the Mediterranean down here at the moment, because we've already got this fleet here as well, which is going to have to do the back. Well, we might just increase this fleet here to maximum capacity to deal with whatever the Poles have, and that's, yeah. I think we might just add 1 ship here, this heavy first rate here, to it, so we can just build up this fleet slowly, time at a time. It's okay. The farmland, of course, they're raiding these farmlands here. That's absolutely fine. We've got a spy. We'll send the spy across as well. We might just send a spy to the Balkans here to see what's going on around here, or even into here, into the north, see what's going on here. Right. This army's taking an absolute aid. Look at that fighting that went on around Nome here. Absolutely incredible. Look at the beating. We just absolutely thrashed this Polish force here. Look at this, only 2 left, so you can imagine the scale of the fighting. If an army of this magnitude takes that many casualties, you can imagine how brutal the fighting was. But there it is, that's the goal. Oh, wait a minute, there's nothing in the city.
Oh.
Ready for orders. Prepare for war.
Oh, they're going to surrender. They're going to surrender.
Lifting siege.
What? They've surrendered.
Immediately. Any further orders? Lord.
Oh, look at that. General Charles in there with a wonderful force. My God, they've surrendered the city.
Sir.
This force is not ready yet for the fight, but we might have to move them in anyway, just to hopefully, because Manchester is going to leave a massive hole there in our... No, wait a minute, sir. We can send this force in, and mind you, they've got an army, they've got a series of armies here. They're quite clearly going to be... Look at that, they're Guard Grenadiers. Oh, National Cavalry as well. They're bringing absolutely everything to the fight here. But we can't allow these forces to be trapped in isolation here. What we might just do then...
At your service.
Yeah, let's send him up here, just keep an eye on what's going on.
Unseen, unheard.
Oh. Just as well we did here, look at that around Berlin. I don't want to get these forces isolated at all. We're going to pull back from Coburg here. And just pull back, so we got the strength and depth here behind the lines.
For order. Crown and country.
Oh, hello.
We are going to come under a severe push here.
Your Majesty.
Oh, if only this army was ready, we'd be able to move these forces in here, but we can't.
At the ready.
And this army is nowhere near ready either.
Sir. Your orders. Your humble servant.
What do we need? We need infantry, which I believe these gentlemen will
Ready
fall.
for orders. Make ready. Hot. Yes, sir.
I also need cavalry, so that's what this group was for.
Your orders. Troops.
So now we know.
Forward.
I think we'll send this force. Actually, let's recruit some more additional forces in here as well. We've got to increase our frontline presence. And we'd also get some cannon. Actually, let's just get the cannon going first. And then additionally we still have some... I think we'll have some garrison guards here. Whether they got a police bonus, I'd probably better have those. Maybe some engineers as well. Additionally we'll have some... We can fill this army out, and I think we'll send this army then to Munich. But taking Munich, what a boon that is, my goodness me. That's a lot of money to spend on. We are going to come under a severe attack here. They might just pull everything and try to retake Munich. Something we just might have to face. We've got Bavaria, so we can just probably... Ooh. We'll pull this down. We have everything here. That's gone, Cobra, that's gone now. +4. Let's keep the church there. We might put a coaching in here as well.
Ready and awaiting
And
orders.
reinforce that army here. I think we'll also send this army out. Mind this one. Oh, look at that! That's a monster. Mind, this was our force to move into the new world. I'd still like to do that, to be honest. I'd still like to send forces in the new world. The reason being, we do have Fort Nashwack here, Arcadia. That's a good presence, but we need something that's got a little bit of punch in it. Mind you, the way things are in Europe at the moment, I'm not sure we can really expand our presence there at the moment. Especially mind you, I'm hoping the United States will actually take Canada in a lot of ways, because it'll increase our... Good grief. That's a strong force they've got there. It'll increase the presence they have here. It'll solidify the United States' hold here of an ally. We're at peace with Quebec, so we're not really at war with. War with Quebec, they're at war with Poland, and they're at war with Spain. Now, I don't expect them to travel all the way to Europe to send forces to help us. That's not going to happen. We've got some good trade as well with the United States here. Now, do we send this force to Europe or to the New World? I think I'll wait for the Council's approval here.
Yes, my lord.
This force definitely needs to move down towards London because we need.
Forward! You're humble, sir.
We've got some wonderful forces here as well. I think we'll also we've got France, we've got Paris as well, which we mustn't forget either. And look at that. One additional Swiss line infantry here. We've got everything at our disposal here. We are fortunate to have some wonderful troops. I think we'll have these gentlemen here. Let's really start ramping up our Swiss pikemen. We'll start increasing our repair cost. Let's get this enabled. We'll have one more ship line here. Got 44,000 there, which is absolutely fantastic. Right, now we've taken Munich as well. That's going to be a huge boon for us. Even if we exempt it here, it's only going to be that. So I know I thought we'll exempt tax. We'll take the tax. 7251. That'll give us a massive boon here. I think we'll get the Imperial Palace repaired. And also the Royal Observatory, because that'll give us a bonus here for nobility and the middle classes. They're the ones that are going to give us a lot of problem. We can actually probably have in this as well. Let's get all of this up and running here, because I think we're going to have a fight on our hands here when the Poles respond. We didn't even fire a shot there. The chances are they're going to come for us, and possibly in Naples as well. But we're not going to spend any money on this just yet. This would be a waste of time. We're going to be harassed and harangued for a long time. But if they send this army in by itself,
Your
they'll get
Majesty.
absolutely
At the
mauled.
ready!
They've only got 2 cannon as well, so we should be able to hold that.
Your Majesty. You're humble, sir.
So we got overwhelming fire support here. Overwhelming fire support superiority. Look at that. They don't even have any cannons in this army. So it's a magnificent looking army, but it's got no fire support, and that would be absolutely crucial. That army does, though. Right, let's end the turn, my friends. I think there's anything we can do here now. I'm going to wait for the council's advice on what we do here with this army,
Your Majesty.
because it was earmarked for the New World. Unless we hit Spanish regions in the New World, in the Caribbean. So as you can see, we've got there's a huge amount here. Even the Windward Islands, that army would do a lot of damage. If we took out these Caribbean islands here from the Spanish, especially, look at that, abundant, high yield. So the town is poor, but still some of these. There's low yield plantation here. Oh, look at that. Louisiana's hitting them pretty hard. High yield. Oh, United States is hitting Spain. That's absolutely fantastic. United States has actually entered the war with Spain. That's fantastic there. Taking some of these would be wonderful. It really would. Alright, let's end the turn, my friends. We've taken Munich now. We've pushed back against the Poles. They've been an absolute thorn in our side for a long time. Let's end any more dramatic niceties we can do here. I wonder if we would just get peace with Poland, whether that would actually work. Let's end the turn. Let's see what happens. I've got a feeling they're going to attack Munich. The reason I didn't attack those forces outside Munich is because I want them to attack us. Because what I want our forces to be at full strength. So when they do attack, we've got 2 full armies there ready to really do a lot of damage. Ouch, we knew that was going to happen there with Spain. They weren't going to allow that to happen for long. We can but hope that Sweden will become resolute. That's okay, that's absolutely fine. They want to do that, that's fine. I think it's time we took care of all these Spanish armies moving across our borders here in France. I think that's going to be our next goal, is to rid ourselves of those, because they're going to do out huge damage to our economy in France. Or Poland, what were you going to do now? How would you respond? How will you respond? I think yet Vienna is absolutely packed. Look at that, Prague is wide open. But look at all these forces here moving around Berlin and that. And just gathering their strength around. I don't understand what we're doing here with Vienna. That is highly unusual. Again, we've got our spies strategically placed here. We've also got our gentlemen, so we can just watch the flow, the ebb and flow of the Polish forces. But for some reason, Vienna is becoming an absolute centre of Polish power here. I'm not sure why, though. Something's going on here with Poland, but I'm not 100% sure what it is. Looks like they're starting to combine forces, or at least move forces out, but we can only hope that Vienna doesn't become a problem for us. Now they're moving away from Berlin. Oh, look at that, they're moving straight into our territories here. Yeah, they're starting to become a bit brazen now. We're going to have to respond here, I think. There's no way, not a chance we're having this. I think we might try and declare peace with Poland and see if we can just flatten the lines out a little bit here. I can see us starting to get overwhelmed here a little bit with the amount of forces that Poland are actually putting in the field. They may decline it, in which case we'll have to accept that. But I think we might try and sue for peace here. But you look at that, where are they going with that exactly? Yeah, they're going to start pushing hard now into our territories. They've split the... Look at that. Here we go. What a push that is, my goodness me. It looks like we've just kicked a hornet's nest, to be honest with you. We'll try and sue for peace if we can. It'll give us time to reconfigure our lines and our forces here, because we're up against a significant push by the Poles now. As long as Russia stays out of the war, we should be okay. Down here, just outside. Oh, I don't believe it. As I was speaking, there it is. Wow. Now Russia. It must be because we're allies with Sweden. It has to be. My goodness me, this is going to be a brutal fight now. We have to try and get peace with Poland if we can. We have to. I can't see any other way. And this is extraordinary. I have no idea what this is. It would appear we've probably struck a nerve here. And looks like our push into Poland territory is probably probably perhaps push the balance of power in our favour, and they're not happy with that because, of course, they don't want Poland to collapse. Otherwise, they lose a major ally and also a major trading partner. We hope that Sweden comes back. Okay, we're determined to raid this line here, and they're also sent some additional reinforcements here. United States, what will they do here? They're moving to Philadelphia here and gathering their strength. I think they might strike towards Quebec eventually. Oh, that's a full fleet. They're going somewhere. Oh, of course they got forces in Dresden. Wow, they absolutely smashed in that Polish force. That was a wonder to see. Oh, look at that. Let's see how bad it's hit our bank here. Not too bad at all, actually. Oh, 32,000 is not too bad. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. These forces now, look at that, we're starting to build our own forces up here, but this push here has split the front. I think what we're going to have to do here is... Oh, it's ready, this army's ready.
Your Majesty.
So we've got this force moving, striking out here, that's absolutely fine. We've got this force in here as well, that's locked down there.
How may I be of service?
Just
impossible.
keep our
Awaiting
there.
further orders.
But they're pushing hard here. Let's have a look at what we're up against. That's a real potent fight. Looks like they're going to try and hit Hanover here. What we want to try and do, I think, potentially, is...
Your Majesty.
We've got Russia here, and we haven't know that. They've retaken it. That's excellent. Oh, that's Russia there as well, looks like. Russia's got quite an army here in Linkoping. Poland is sending some extraordinarily large forces here. Oh my goodness me, look at that. But if we could possibly strike this force in the flank,
Your
we might
Majesty.
do this. We might combine
Your
here.
Majesty. At the ready. Onwards.
That's more like it. That's more like it.
Your humble servant. Make ready. Hot.
This army's more than enough for this army here, so we've got no fear there. We
Sir,
might
your
attack
order?
the flank of this
Your Majesty.
Polish force.
Ready and awaiting orders.
I think we might go. I think we might
Yes.
strike this flank of this Polish force here
Sir.
with this army
your
group.
orders?
It'll draw in a huge swathe here.
Your
I think
humble
we're going to
servant.
reinforce it here with this. No,
Lord.
this force here under General Jaden van Wyk.
Yes.
Look at that, added real momentum here to this push.
March.
We probably strike this army here. It'll drag in all the others from the different side. All of this will be brought in. We'll be up against a tremendous force, particularly these armies here. Mind you, this one's not at full strength, but this one will give us a lot of problems. That's a very powerful force indeed. If we do this, we're going to be throwing our whole lot behind
Your
it.
humble servant.
So we
Ready
need to
for order.
build this force up here, I think.
At the ready.
Send them down here.
Make ready. Hot. Lord. Making camp. Troops. Forward. Ready for order. March. Your humble servant.
Got the Morty house up here, but we need to strike this flank pretty hard. Got this army here, which is just sat there at the moment. here does not really need it. I think we might reinforce. Do we need to reinforce? We've got this army here.
Ready and awaiting
If they
orders.
cross over this bridge here, they can't get in here apart from crossing this bridge. This army here will be more than enough to defend. That's more than enough to deal with anything here. This is Field Marshal von Ernuk. Field Marshal Ernuk here, so there's more than enough of a force probably to defeat all of these combined, to be honest with you. So I think we'll send this army again to hit the flank here of these forces.
By the left. March. Awaiting further orders. Your orders, Your Majesty.
These are going to come under a tremendous amount of pressure. We've built up our own force here. They will have these hunkered down here as well. And we definitely need to deal with these Spanish forces here. That's an absolute must. We cannot have these loitering about like this. We just simply cannot. So, to that end, this force here, General Faramir, will be sent out to deal with this force here. Because look at that, he's gathered a force here now. And also, we'll send out this army here, and General Lincoln to deal with this force here. We might just move down into here then and deal with this force here, this army here, and free up. But let's replenish and repair here. I think we're going to make a statement here of intent. I think first things first, let's deal with this army here.
Victory will be ours.
Yes, I think we'll do this one, but I think, my friends, well, that's going to be for next episode. I would like to try and get the Council's advice here. Once we've dealt with this force here, what do we do with this force here in just outside London? It's a very powerful force. It was initially earmarked for an attack into the New World, but however, with things in Europe as they are, do we then use that force to go into Europe, or do we send it still to the New World? That's the absolute key here. We will be freeing up the Bristol port here. We've got plenty of ships. We'll probably send this fleet in to deal with that. We've got another fleet here which we need to deal with this one here. But what do we do here, my friends? Do we pull this army into Europe or into the New World? That's going to be the absolute critical question here. We've got General Faramir will be more than enough to deal with this force here. It's an exceptionally strong force indeed. And then we can probably move down against Spain. I'd like to try and go into northern Spain if possible, and just wrestle that from them while most of their forces are tied up around Naples. That would be excellent for us to do. It really, really would. But my friends, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. This episode's been more where we've sort of moved the chess pieces around here. If we can strike that Polish force that's moving between the two locations we've got there in Europe, which we've taken there, they're trying to flank around in Hanover. If we can strike that powerful force in the flank with that sort of armies, the four armies, the army group plus the other additional, so the real task force we've assembled on the flank there. If we can strike them in the flank, it'll do untold damage to Poland. I mean, it'll just absolutely obliterate probably the most powerful force on this front. But again, I'm going to wait for the Council's advice here before we do anything else. This fight will take place next episode, and probably the other one as well, to remove Spain from France altogether. And then we shall replenish and repair here, and then we shall move probably into northern Italy to remove the last vestiges of that Spanish presence there as well. Perhaps even moving down to help Naples as well. We're also recruiting another army outside Paris as well, so that will be able to move in and help should any other Spanish forces move against us directly from Spain. Anyway, my friends, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. As always, please leave your comments coming down, your tactics, your suggestions, your strategies, anything you want, my friends. I'll do my utmost to make sure that you follow your plans, because you really have saved this campaign more than once. I'm relying on you once again. Again, as always, my friends, please be safe, especially in the times we're living in now. Fingers crossed things will get better very, very soon. But until next time, my friends, bye for now.